We are taught the idea that we should give, share, and prioritize generosity over our personal interests. But someone warns us about the dangers of being too kind and compassionate. We live in a world where we don't always receive what we give, as it's full of generous people who exhaust both their financial and energy resources through indiscriminate donations. If this is your first time on my channel, I ask you to help me by subscribing and liking the video so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. Could excessive generosity even put our own lives in danger? Be amazed by the unexpected negative effects that kindness can bring you. Today, I will reveal the 8 things that happen to you when you're too good and introduce 4 Stoic strategies to avoid people taking advantage of you. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. You will have unrealistic expectations of people. The Stoics emphasize the need to accept circumstances as they are and not base our happiness on the actions of others. By giving without expecting too much in return, you avoid disappointment and practice emotional detachment, leading to greater peace of mind. Imagine this scenario. You strive to be generous and kind, giving your best to others without expecting anything in return. This attitude is noble, but often we find ourselves consciously or unconsciously expecting others to respond with the same level of generosity. We hope that people will acknowledge our efforts and reciprocate similarly. But what happens when these expectations are not met? The root of this problem lies in our expectations. By assuming that others will respond in the same way as we do, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position. While it is natural to desire that others appreciate and value our actions, Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others. We can only control our own actions and reactions. It's hard for us to be completely selfless in our generosity, consciously or unconsciously when we give everything. We expect others to do the same. However, you've become so accustomed to doing everything for them that they'll take for granted that you can handle everything in their lives as well as yours, especially yours because they'll assume your responsibilities. The truth is that your expectations of reciprocity will not be met, and what will happen to you is that you'll be in a bad mood, tired, frustrated, and disappointed. Stoicism teaches us that our true wealth lies in our ability to give without expecting anything in return, finding joy in the act of giving, and maintaining our peace of mind, regardless of others' responses. Number 2, people will only expect you to give. The practice of moderation, highly valued by the Stoics, becomes an anchor in a sea of endless demands. Instead of yielding to endless requests from others, Stoicism urges us to balance our generosity. By giving in a balanced way, we maintain control over our actions and avoid falling into patterns that erode our emotional well-being. People often adapt to situations and environments that are comfortable for them. This human tendency is where the concept of the comfort zone originates. If we constantly assume the responsibilities of others, we allow them to remain in their comfort zones. They feel no need to grow or face challenges because they know we will always be there to cover their backs. The problem is not just for others, but also for ourselves. By assuming the responsibilities of others, we neglect our own needs and priorities. We find ourselves trapped in a cycle of giving without receiving, which depletes our energy and undermines our emotional well-being. Practicing moderation and giving in a balanced way allows you to maintain control over your own actions and avoid falling into habits that erode your emotional well-being. If you become accustomed to giving all the time, the beneficiaries of your generosity will expect you to give all the time. It's essential to give, but it's also crucial to maintain a balance by setting clear boundaries and practicing generosity in a balanced way. This not only preserves our own peace and well-being, but also encourages others to take on their responsibilities and grow as individuals. In this delicate balance, we find true generosity that nourishes both others and ourselves. Number 3, your priorities will be trampled upon. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living in accordance with reason and virtue, setting boundaries and prioritizing our own essential responsibilities to maintain balance and avoid sacrificing our authenticity and well-being for others. If you're giving everything for other people's priorities, you may find yourself running away from something inside you that causes you pain and fear. The emotions that arise in these moments of solitude can be overwhelming. The feeling of emptiness, deafening silence, and the longing for connection can create deep emotional discomfort. It's in these moments that we often seek refuge in the needs of others. We immerse ourselves in serving others as a way to fill the void we feel within ourselves. The cost of this incessant giving is high. You lose yourself in the process, and your inner voice is drowned out by external demands. Sooner or later, when you face the stillness of your own being, the pain and fear you've been trying to avoid emerge with renewed strength. It's essential to recognize that tending to our own needs and priorities is not selfish. It's a form of self-care and self-preservation of our authenticity. The Stoics teach us that setting boundaries and living in accordance with our own virtues is not only an act of self-love, but also a path to an authentic and meaningful life. The next time you feel tempted to escape yourself by constantly serving others, stop for a moment. Acknowledge those uncomfortable emotions that arise in solitude and embrace them with compassion. Allow yourself to be authentic in your desires and needs. Establish healthy boundaries and learn to say no when necessary. You'll find that by honoring your authenticity, you not only heal internally but also offer balanced and genuine generosity to others from a place of fullness and authenticity. Number 4. You will be seen as weak and treated as such. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner strength and self-control by setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline. If you help too much over time, you might be seen as an authority figure in the area in which you collaborate with others. However, you could give exactly the opposite impression. In this context, a lack of boundaries makes you vulnerable. People perceive this weakness, and instead of respecting you, they may start taking advantage of you. They see you as someone willing to shoulder the responsibilities of others without question, which can lead to a situation where you find yourself constantly overwhelmed, exhausted, and frustrated. When you start saying no firmly but respectfully, something incredible happens. People start perceiving you differently. You're no longer the one willing to carry everything without complaint. Now you're someone who values themselves enough to set boundaries, someone who deserves to be treated with dignity and consideration. This change in perception is crucial. By uttering that small word, you transform how others see you. You're no longer an easy target for others' incessant demands. You're a strong individual capable of defending your boundaries and therefore deserving of respect. Ultimately, respect doesn't just come from what you do for others, but also from how you treat yourself. By setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline, you're sending a clear message to the world that you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where your boundaries are being tested, remember the strength that resides in that small word, no. By uttering it, you're standing up for yourself and affirming your own worth. Number 5. You will have many buts. People will only come to you when they need something. When you become someone who is willing to help unconditionally, it's natural for the people around you to start noticing. However, this attention can have a dark side. People who used to consider you a good friend might start excluding you from fun social activities, reserving your presence only for when they need something. This pattern of behavior can seem ruthless, but from a pragmatic perspective, it's not so surprising. People rarely invite their employees or collaborators to share leisure moments. It's more common for those invitations to be extended to close friends, family, or individuals with whom they have a genuine and equitable relationship. This change in how you're treated can be bewildering and in many ways unfair. You find yourself in a position where you give freely, only to feel excluded when it comes to joyful and relaxed moments. This selective treatment can hurt and trigger feelings of disillusionment and betrayal. However, from a Stoic perspective, this behavior is a test of your discernment. It challenges you to recognize who genuinely values your friendship and appreciation and who is simply taking advantage of your generosity. It's important to remember that Stoicism doesn't advocate becoming cynical or distrustful. It encourages us to cultivate a deep understanding of human nature through discernment. With discernment, you can choose to help those who genuinely need it and will value your genuine support. By doing so, you not only protect your own energy and resources, but also surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can give them. Ultimately, this challenge provides an opportunity to practice Stoic self-discipline. You can choose to set clear boundaries and decide how you want to spend your energy and time. By maintaining balanced generosity and focusing on those who genuinely appreciate your help, you can live in accordance with Stoic principles and experience true human connection based on honesty and integrity. Number 6. You will attract only needy people and never those willing to give. According to the Stoics, our actions and thoughts emit an energy that attracts people with similar resonances. When we cultivate a positive mental and emotional state, we radiate high vibrations that attract equally positive individuals, generous, enthusiastic, and genuine people. However, when we give indiscriminately and exhaust ourselves emotionally and physically in the process, our energy weakens and we start vibrating at a lower frequency. This attracts needy people to us. These people are far from being authentic and willing to give in a mutually beneficial relationship. They approach us only to meet their own needs. Furthermore, this lower frequency also attracts opportunists, individuals who lack the intention and resources to help, but see us as an easy source to get what they want. The key, according to Stoic philosophy, lies in discernment and self-discipline. We must learn to recognize when we are giving excessively and depleting our own energies. This involves setting clear boundaries and practicing moderation in our generosity. By doing so, we maintain our vibrations at a higher frequency and attract people who value our authenticity and are willing to contribute reciprocally to the relationship. By being mindful of our energies and practicing balanced generosity, we can cultivate authentic and mutually beneficial relationships based on reciprocity, respect, and genuine mutual appreciation. Instead of one-sided exploitation, this allows us to live in accordance with Stoic principles and experience true human connection based on honesty and integrity. Number 7. You might fall into addiction. When the Stoics warn us about the possibility of falling into addiction, they are reminding us that moderation and self-control are essential for maintaining a balanced and healthy life. In the context of generosity, practicing self-discipline protects us from falling into addictive patterns that can arise when we constantly feel overwhelmed and needy due to our overextension. When we live in accordance with Stoic principles, we recognize that generosity must be in balance. Giving without measure and without restrictions can deplete our emotional and physical reserves, leading us to seek relief in addictive behaviors such as overeating, drinking, or gambling. Stoicism teaches us to pay attention to warning signals that come through trusted people in our lives. If someone points out that we are resorting too much to certain behaviors, we should take those observations seriously. It's natural for our initial reaction to be denial, especially when we are caught in the cycle of incipient addiction. However, these concerns come from a genuine place of care and love. Accepting these observations with humility and gratitude is a crucial step towards self-awareness and personal growth. By doing so, we are practicing Stoic philosophy in action, applying the principles of moderation and self-control to avoid falling into addictive traps that can undermine our health and well-being. Always remember that people who care about us do so with the intention of helping us overcome challenges and move toward a fuller and more meaningful life. By taking their observations seriously, we demonstrate a deep consideration for our own well-being and a genuine commitment to our personal growth and long-term happiness. Number 8. You will arouse suspicion. Stoicism encourages us to act virtuously regardless of how others may perceive us. By focusing on living in harmony with our principles and values, we build a genuine reputation that is resilient to unwarranted suspicion. Although we would prefer things to be different, the truth is that genuinely kind people are not abundant in this world. Therefore, if you are one of them, you will arouse suspicion rather than admiration and gratitude. It won't be long before you show your kindness and people start wondering what's going on with you and what hidden intentions you have that you're not revealing to anyone. This means you have encountered a group of skeptical people. Not necessarily that they are, but it's more likely that they are realistic. Most people who are overly enthusiastic tend to hide intentions so sinister that it's best to stay away from them and give up the help they want to provide. In conclusion, according to Stoic wisdom, the best measure for everything in life is always the middle ground, and generosity is no exception. If we give too little, we seem selfish and greedy, while if we give excessively, we end up completely drained of energy, time, and probably money. So lean toward the grays that remain the preferred shades when it comes to finding a balance between prioritizing others and ourselves. And when in doubt, always remember the magical word no. especially if you're offered a ride home from the drive-thru. Subscribe now to never miss any exciting content we've prepared for you. Click the subscribe button and join the family today. And don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed this video. It helps us keep bringing you high-quality content. Leave your comments below and share your thoughts and suggestions. We want to hear from you and create content that interests you. Turn on the notification bell to be the first to know when we release a new video. Don't miss out on updates and exclusive news. Join us, be a part of this incredible journey, and let's grow together. Your support is what motivates us to keep producing fantastic content for you. Thank you for being a part of our community.